in academia, you're going to get all kinds of different, not necessarily different perspectives, but definitely an understanding that is rooted in a type of materialist, secularist, naturalist position. We're supposed to deny self, die to the flesh daily. So is the self important? Is identity important? In the grand scheme of things, of course not, absolutely not. Anything salvific, anything regarding theology or soteriology, our relationship with the Most High God and the salvation that comes from that. When I speak about the self-identity, it's of course coming from more of a earthly understanding of who you are in regards to the world or in relation to the world, right? Things like culture. All of these things are important, just as we have our faith and our belief system, our value system, our worldview. In my view, this is what grounds us. This is what gives us foundation. And this is also what gives us the means to make meaning, to make truth, or to find truth, or acknowledge truth. So the faith, the belief system, the worldview is the starting point. And I would say your identity, quote unquote, the self, quote unquote, is merely a product of that faith, of that belief system, of that worldview. So it isn't to say that the identity, the self, is what life is all about in terms of discovery. Because this is what you learn in school. This is what you'll learn in academia. You'll learn that life is all about self-realization. Life is all about coming to terms with who you are, identity structure, and the healthy, stable sense of self. When you learn about these concepts, you aren't given the foundation of that collective, because that's what the self is. The self, the identity, they're two separate things, but they're separate but together in a sense. So they're a collective in that sense, but also they're collective because they are based on memories, experiences accrued over time that develop a type of structure. So your identity, who you are, your identity is separate from the self in that the identity tends to be more reliant, subject to, and contingent on the exterior, the environment. The self is different in that it is more a reflection of what you have experienced over time. It's more internal, how you feel about things, how you perceive things, how you think about things in relation to yourself. That's the self. The identity is more of who you are in the world, who you are in relation to your environment, your community. We're all different. No one's the same. Some of us are more alike than others. In fact, I believe we are actually grouped in certain sets of behaviors that come natural to us. The Most High is just brilliant and amazing in the way He's created us, in the way He's made and formed this creation. He's done it in a way that's mathematical, it's structured, there's order. There's this divine intelligence throughout. Just studying life, studying nature, studying biology, studying the human being. You find God throughout. You discover His brilliance throughout. The way He structures us so perfectly. Even when opposed, work together in some type of systematic brilliance. But what I'm getting at is the importance of having a starting point. The importance of having a foundation that can give you truth and purpose in life. What we're being shown, what we're being taught, is not necessarily the reality of things. Now, when you go outside, when you live your life, when you go to work, when you're visiting friends, you're with family, on your leisure time, doing things that are comfortable and fun, that's living. That's the real world. That's real life. That's the area they can never take from you. This is why it's important to be in tune with the real world in this way, in your relationships. So the false reality I'm speaking of is everything we're seeing on television, everything we're seeing in the media, the news, all the narratives that are being presented. That's the false reality. And if you notice, it's got to the point where all of these things are connected via algorithm. So it's no longer even manually controlled. It's no longer there's controllers controlling all these things. Now it's algorithms. Now we understand humans controls the algorithm, so there's that aspect there. But the algorithms, they're autonomous. They function on their own. They build on themselves. It's like garbage in, garbage out. So if there's garbage put into the algorithms, nothing but garbage will come out. This is what we're experiencing today. The parental state structure is utilizing technology and its exponential abilities to distract, to subdue, and to consume the consumer. We are the consumer, and in a sense, we're being consumed. See, the establishment, the state, it shapes your worldview for you. You no longer have to think for yourself. Politically, socially, spiritually, there's someone out there for you to tell you how to live. And these usually come in the form of celebrity, political role, or even corporation. We're in a capitalistic society. Avoiding it is not going to help anything. Boycotting brands does nothing. Now, of course, there is this moral argument. Morally, you shouldn't follow certain corporations, but when you start going down that road, you're pretty much just going to have to walk around completely nude and eat nothing and starve, because the entire food industry is corrupt too, right? Mainstream media, MSM, entertainment, politics, reactionaries would call this area the cathedral. Right? We're being controlled by the cathedral today, the new church, the new religion. So today we are noticing a new culture is being rolled out by way of this so-called cathedral, collective of entertainment, academia, government, and religion. There is a new religion. It's a mixture. It's like a two-sided coin. On one end, you get materialist atheism, and then on the other side, you get this Baconian, New Age monism or universalism, Gnosticism, all of that stuff. So you get the New Age mixed with this transhumanist, materialist atheism, the whole idea of scientism. This is the new religion coming. And what happens is young people today, they no longer have anything to believe in. They no longer have a structure, a foundation to give themselves understanding of this world. When you don't have a belief system, of course, we've talked about this, you fall into nihilism and you just rely on the entertainment industry. There's no sufficient inward base, no foundational belief system. So what happens here is you are given up to the system, to the state. So this idea of parental or paternal state structure, it creates something I call the postmodern referential loop, a self-referencing system, an enclosed system. For instance, like narcissism. It's a self-referencing system where your whole understanding, your whole experience, everything that is of value to you comes through the self. So you're constantly referencing your own perspective, your own needs, your own desires. This is a type of Ouroboros. So what we see here is this idea of revisionist history, changing history, restructuring the history as we know it, while clouding our understanding of the present, therefore giving us up to whatever future is ahead. We don't know where we're going if we're too distracted presently and we don't understand what happened in the past. We notice they're trying to make us feel shame for the past. Slavery, capitalism, patriarchy. You should feel shame. All the bloodshed to Americanism or at the hands of Christianity. Therefore making you denounce the past. And with that, what follows is guilt in the present. You should feel so guilty now that you should do whatever you can, even if it's irrational, to fix things. Even if you have to prop up woman over man. Even if you have to turn women into men. Even if you have to turn men into women. Even if you have to give children the choice of picking their gender. Okay, even if you have to completely restructure the education system in a way that creates more inequality. Even if you have to give up all your rights, all your privacy, even your own point of view, you have to do it through guilt. Because look who suffered at the hands of your forefathers, right? Look at all that has been done for you to experience such pleasure. You're privileged. And since you're privileged, you should feel guilty for it. And you should give up everything you know and everything you've ever known. What does this do? This breaks you down. You're in a point where you're frazzled. Anxiety rises, depression rises, suicidal ideation rises. You're at a loss of words. You don't know how to exist. You just want to do the right thing. You just want to be a good person. You just want everyone to be happy, harmony. So you become codependent on the state that's telling you how to live, telling you how to think, therefore telling you what your future is. You become codependent, and this has to do with the natural order of things. They are trying to change that, restructure your understanding of that. And in the present, they're doing that through exaggerating things, making things seem grievous, using urgency. Everything's so urgent. Oh no, the world is going to end in 12 years. We just have to change everything now. We just have to turn the world upside down because of the past. We're overpopulated. We're not going to have any more food, right? Just exaggerating everything, making everything so urgent. You're anxious constantly, and you're just waiting for someone to tell you what to do, waiting for someone to give you your next move, the next product, the next area of focus, the next political movement. And they use capitalism to blame everything on. They use national security as a sense of fear. You should fear your presence here. There's international terrorists. There's domestic terrorists. Your security is in danger. Controversy. Oh, we're going to impeach the president. Oh no, so-and-so did this, so-and-so said that. Racism. Oh no, we're doomed. Controversy is used in the present to blind you, to distract you. Climate change. Stop everything you're doing now There's nothing more important than climate change. This is all that you should be focused on right now. It is the biggest thing, right? This is how they attack your mind and your spirit in the present. This is what we're seeing today. Why are they doing all of this? It's a loop, you see? Postmodern referential loop. In its foundation, it's postmodern, meaning there's no reality, there's no truth component. It's all based on deconstructing everything, deconstructing the past, deconstructing your understanding of the present while constructing a type of synthesis for the future, a solution, right? Problem, reaction, solution. You could compare that to this as well. So it's postmodern, but it's a referential loop, because when you're in this loop, when this is your worldview, which most people have this worldview today, basically this is an example of how I see the current average person that doesn't really know what they believe in, that's completely in the matrix. This is their worldview. It's a referential loop to where they keep referring to these perspectives and they qualify each other through each other. So your present understanding is qualified by your understanding of the past, and your future understanding is qualified by your understanding of the present, and it becomes a loop. Anytime you have a confusion in that moment, oh, I remember the past is this way and the future will be a better way, right? So it's a loop. You can never escape it because you have no other way of thinking. You have no other resources. You have nothing else to refer to. You're trapped within yourself. You're trapped within your own understanding that has been given to you. So why are they doing this right now? Why are they just completely deconstructing the past and clouding and confusing the present to bring us to a new future? And they're doing this through overcompensation. They're overcompensating for the alleged past and the current future by making these drastic changes, by even saying certain things like biological gender sexual difference isn't real, by telling you that we need to replace all roles and positions that men carry of leadership with women. And that's just the gender aspect. There's many other that you guys are aware of. Everything is an overcompensating move. You know what? We're going to be so connected, you have no privacy at all. You're going to be so digitally connected, we know what you're doing at all times. Just so we could get a grip on things, just so we can get a little order around here. Austerity, this is the future. Loss of rights, loss of individuality, forced paths. You can't do this, you can't do that. You have to do this. You have to believe this. And if you don't, you're going to be ostracized. You're going to be put in jail. You're going to be possibly physically assaulted. Wait till this election. I'm still calling it Blood Sports 2020. People are losing their minds. And it's because they are in this loop. Globalism. This is the future. A global state. Hegemony. What's hegemony? Hegemony is a cohesion of thought and behavior. Antonio Gramsci would speak of this idea called cultural hegemony. And it's exactly what we're experiencing today. This idea of the state, the elite, utilizing a certain type of culture to make everyone the same. Hegemony is another way of saying consensus. We all agree that gender really doesn't mean anything. We all agree that intersectionality is the foundation of the human experience and should be implemented in all industries throughout society. We do agree on these things, right? And it's cool to be this way. It's hip to be this way. This is this cool element you get with culture. This is why we see all the celebrities and the artists and entertainers reiterating these points, demonstrating all of this for us. That's why everyone's the same. Have you noticed that? Everyone's the same. And you want to talk about diversity. They may look different. They may talk different. They may dress different, but they all think the same. Hive mind, this whole idea of group science. That's hegemony. Egalitarianism goes hand in hand with pluralism. We're all equal. Everybody. Pluralism, plural, difference. We're all different, but we're equal. Egalitarianism is not very realistic, because when you really try to utilize, or should I say implement it in a society, someone's going to lose. Someone's going to have to give a lot up. This is what communism is. It always ends in a form of dictatorship. And we are going towards that. That's what this future is all about. That's what austerity is. Authoritarian dictatorship. But it's going to be done in this nice way, in this egalitarian way. Hey, we're all equal. Here's some porn. Here's some free drugs. Here's all your favorite artists just throwing their lives away because, hey, it feels good. That's the motto of the future. And of course, with that, we get the religion aspect. We get the religious component, which is neo-paganism, mixed with its, I'd say, polar opposite, scientism, because neo-paganism is pantheistic and scientism is atheistic, but we're getting them at the same time. How twisted is that? How contradictory is that? No wonder the world's going crazy. It makes perfect sense. You misunderstand the past. The past is misrepresented to you. Straw men are created. The present is exaggerated. The present is this big, urgent, fear-mongered reality. And all these false ideals are given to you to focus on, to blind you, to keep you preoccupied. Intersectionality, capitalism, national security, controversy, domestic terrorism. Oh no, climate change, the world's gonna end in 12 years. Setting you up for what is to come, to accept that nothing really means anything. That all that matters is we're all together happy in a big, nice village, a big community commune of hypersexual animals. This isn't to say environmentalism isn't important. We're supposed to be responsible with the environment, but what we're seeing here is an exaggerated effort here. Environmentalism has been hijacked. It's been used as an opportunity for evil. Isn't it interesting that they're so big on protecting the environment, yet they are slowly killing off humanity? How does that make any sense at all? That's why it's so important to find the inconsistencies with the worldview so you can understand how it's all a ruse. Of course we should be responsible and take care of the environment, of course. Again, problem, reaction, solution. It's the same old bag. Ain't nothing new. It's in the scriptures. So what we find is the past is no longer important. It's so unimportant that we can completely fantasize about it. We can completely misrepresent it in a way that's so insane that it completely changes the way we see ourselves. Back to the SRI's work on changing images of man. Let's change the man's image of himself. Therefore, he'll no longer know who he is, and we can guide him to what we want him to be. Obsolescence. The past is obsolete. Christianity is archaic. It's no longer useful. There's this whole idea of self-worship. It's all about humanitarianism. It's all about feeling good in that moment, that present moment. It's all about getting that instant gratification now. That's nihilism. You have no guidance. You have no direction. It's just about the moment. So in that moment, you believe nothing but the moment. We're being given a culture today that is operating in this manner at all times. It's this exponential cycle of presence. Scrolling through your feed for hours is an exponential cycle of presence. You're stuck in that present moment. Every other thing you scroll to, every other image, it's a new image keeping you in this loop of presence. You don't know where you're going. You're just waiting on that next image, that next thing. It's nihilism, which leads to idealism in the future. Giving you this idealistic reference point, this idealistic understanding of what the future can hold, because you're so damn screwed up in your brain and your mind and your spirit that you don't know where you're going. So you'll take any fantastical idea thrown at you. This is the cycle, the referential loop of the postmodern worldview. Again, how is it a referential loop? They use each other to refer to each other. If you question yourself in the present, you refer to the future. Oh, it's okay that this is happening now because we're going to have this in the future. If you're questioning the present, oh, well, I'm feeling this way or this is like this today because of the past. And every single reference point is wrong and it's inaccurate. Hence, post-reality. Hence, complete insanity, depersonalization, dissociation. And what props up this whole system? Technology, used in an abusive manner. Technology is being developed at an exponential rate without giving any concern towards what it's going to do to human beings. Obsolescence of the past. You don't know where you've been, so in the present, you have no meaning for where you are or who you are. Hence, your future will be a question mark. You don't know where you're going. Imagine if you can get the entire society to operate this way. This is a very simple understanding of how we're being manipulated today. If you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're at, you have no meaning for where you're at, and you sure don't know where you're going. The paternal state structure uses shame, guilt, dependence as a cycle to trap all of us in. You know, people will fight you because you disagree with the way they believe. People will fight you if you even say you support conservative ideals. You'll lose your job. You'll be ostracized from social groups. The hive mind is at hand. This is the progressive socio-political gaslighting method. We are all being gaslit. Yeah, so you should feel shame for your past. Therefore, we should remove the past, and you should feel guilt about the present. Therefore, conform, worship the future. Oh man, you look at some of these political groups, you look at some of these social groups, it's like they worship this perspective. They worship their identities. Little do they know they have no identity. They don't know who they are. They don't know why they think what they think. So this is where we're at, guys. And like Gramsci said, he was right. You have to use culture to change the people. Culture is the worldly or secular alternative to faith. So if they can change the culture, if they can control the culture through controlling the way you see who you are and the way you see the world around you, well, that's all culture is. They give us these psychodramas. A psychodrama is a type of simulacra, like Baudrillard would describe. This idea of a false reality, this scripture type of narrative that we're living. We're living this false narrative right now. And it's all being done through media for the most part. It's reconstituted through social media. You know, you get these people, they believe one thing, they jump on social media, it spreads like wildfire. Before you know it, everyone just believes these things are true. We have a fragmented understanding of reality and the world around us. And this is also done through the education system. If you think about education in itself, it's not really built to teach you understanding and knowledge in the sense that you understand and know the subjects that you learn. When you look at what you're actually learning in these courses, it's pieces. It's piecemeal. It's just sections of very broad conceptual subjects. So by the time you're done learning the subject, you don't know the subject. You've only learned how to score well on tests. So you don't actually have a grasp or a grip on what the meanings throughout. You don't have this encompassing understanding of the subjects. This goes to show that the academic industry, institutions are also involved here. Through our institutions of education, they misrepresent our understanding of the past, they misguide us in our present, and they project this false idealistic future. So today, what we're actually guided by is not truth. We're actually guided by culture today instead of what is true and what is just. And what is just and what is true is completely misrepresented within that culture. Because as we know it today, truth is relative. And what is just kind of crazy. We want to justify women killing babies because it's their body. I mean, that's just insane. Freedom can only follow order. If you just give a child ultimate freedom, you're going to create a monster. The world will eat them alive. They will fall victim to all their darkest and most base level instincts. This is why it's important to guide a child from the outset. Give them order, give them direction, give them truth, give them meaning, give them a foundation. And with that, then give them freedom because they'll know how to make some good decisions. They'll have a structured, stable, orderly reference base. They won't have a referential loop of madness. And this is found in God. This is found in the Holy Scriptures. This is everything Christ has spoken. No wonder they want to completely eliminate the idea of Christianity, because it is that which provides that foundation. It is that one thing that gives you that starting point, that direction, that guidance from the outset. Liberty after direction, for the wages of sin is death. Yes, I believe so. Narcissism is the new programming. I believe in that. And narcissism is just another way of saying self-worship. It's just a secular, scientific, organized theory based around the fundamentals of self-worship. And Scripture speaks on this.